meltdown.
Right, because it like jumped in your face like five. Or I wish it had like an actual like doo, doo, just to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome. Look, today we have a new person.
New
And
person, can you hear my cat?
I heard a little meow, meow. It's okay. We like
Ugh.
cats. Well, this is a pussy-free podcast, but yes, we do.
Okay. All right.
Every now and then. Yeah, I'm bad. Okay.
Okay.
So I figured to review the movie Bros, I needed to find, I don't know, just a cisgendered white gay male.
Here I am,
Right. Exactly.
living up to those expectations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
So you just saw the movie Bros, like just now, like it's fresh.
Yeah. Ended like an hour ago.
So what do you think?
So I don't like it. I
Right.
don't know. I feel like it was a miss. And I think that I get it.
Uh-huh.
Like I get the whole, like you were saying to me before about like, oh well, a movie with gay people, it's not all about like porn.
Right.
But my thing is like, that's what we like, number one.
Yeah, we do like porn.
And it was so overkill. Like, I don't understand if the movie is for gay people or straight people. And either way, it was annoying.
I think it was a movie that's meant to be like, look, it's a mainstream gay movie that's a rom-com. Like, it doesn't have to have, fat guy, skinny woman, or ugly guy, hot girl, or ugly girl, hot guy. It doesn't have to have that formula. It can just be annoying white guy and overly hot muscular guy.
Right. So it does to an extent.
Yeah. So I mean,
And my
it
thing,
has it.
I'm just like, do we really need to go right off the bat with Stonewall? I'm like, we know. I'm
Well,
not saying don't talk about it, but like, come on.
it was trying to.
First
I think
line.
it was trying to be a joke, and I think it didn't land because like he didn't even set it up. Because also it's Billy Eichner. Like his level of comedy does not come off like he's visual to me. Like his
It's not a
brand of
movie
humor is visual.
comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. And I'm like, oh, okay, good job. The 11th brick.
Well, and what's weird is that he can play other characters. Like he's been in, I think, like Ryan Murphy stuff, and he's been fine.
Hmm.
I think it's because he went into the movie as Billy Eichner, and that's not what.
Right, Billy on the Street. Yeah.
Right, which is just it's such a different vibe. And I was kind of like, ugh, because I haven't heard any bad things about it, and I was under the assumption you
Uh-huh.
liked it because we haven't really talked
No.
about it yet, which I now understand. But I went into it like
Yeah.
excited, and
Yeah.
and I drugged my husband and sister to it too.
And
So
how do they feel?
my sister liked it. My husband did
Okay.
not.
Of course.
Right. So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I've heard like good things. The tomato score is really nice. And then I went in there in the first like 5 minutes. I was like,
Right.
I
Because
don't know.
well, how about this? To me, it would have been cute if like the entire movie was like a narration of his podcast, sort of like he was having this long, drawn out turn my thing off, but he didn't. He like had that for like the first, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And then like to us,
Yeah.
podcast does not exist. It's just his life. And
I
it
think it
tried to
was
be,
just like, it was too much at once. Like, there's not a theme. There
no,
wasn't a theme. It had too many purposes. Like, you want to be a mainstream rom com for gay people, you want to be a
right,
political movie.
right.
Um, it was doing too much and it wasn't very subtle.
Well,
Like,
yeah, it was in your face. The parts that were in your face were like really in your face, like the sex scene with
right.
him and the guy, where it was like they were wrestling or fighting, and then like it's like they went through every like, what can we do? Can we do all these things? Like, yep, all we're missing is fisting. Like we went through every set of things to have sex to. It was just too much, you know?
So my graduate advisor told me
There you
one
go.
time,
Hmm.
told me this, and it like hurt my fucking feelings. But it's true, right? Like I have a
Hmm.
history of trying to you overcommit and underdeliver. So you try to cover like a mile of information, but you only get it
Right,
an inch deep. And in
right,
reality, you should pick an inch of information and cover it a mile deep. That's where the good movies are.
yeah.
And my sister was like, I couldn't tell if it was a comedy or a drama, and I was like,
It was
both.
a
But it didn't.
dramedy.
It didn't land. Like there's so much of
Yeah,
it that didn't for me.
for
Like,
you.
and I understand.
Well,
Uh,
well, well, the thing is, okay, so say for instance he made it for gay people. That's
mhm.
fine. there wasn't enough eye candy for me as a gay guy to be like, I would see this movie again just for the eye candy. You know what I mean?
Well, and
Or
that's
like
what I
the
mean.
jokes. Like there wasn't enough jokes to be like, I'm gonna go back and watch this again. Like I don't
Right.
know how many times. But here's the thing: you got Judd Apatow, whatever his name is, Judd Apatow.
That's him?
No, that was who the director. He was one. He was the producer.
Oh,
And then Nicholas Stoller, who is the guy who is like, they are like 40-year-old. Wait, I wrote it down. They're like 40-year-old virgin, bridesmaids, knocked up, forgetting Sarah Marshall, train wreck, like all
which
these.
character is that? Oh, a
He's the
producer.
director,
Okay.
the producer, yeah. So I mean, like
Okay.
to us, these guys write good movies. I just think,
Right.
I just honestly think it was Billy Eichner. Like
Well, and
I
so
don't think he's just likable. Like if you replaced him with anybody else, would they be likable? But the problem is you have a wide roster of cisgendered white men to choose from, but like we've seen them all do it before.
well, and like the whole self-referential, like huge focus on the fact that he's a cis white
Mhm.
man. Like I'm like we fucking understand.
We get
And
it.
here's the thing, like that's probably hypocritical, but let's
Mhm.
talk about homophobia, right? You want to think about homophobia. Homophobia is the fact that the same director had dick in Forgetting Sarah Marshall and not in the gay movie. That's homophobic. That's what we
Yeah,
go to see.
yeah.
Okay?
Thank
Not
you.
a half-assed.
I don't know how many times I've shown people that scene from Hall Pass where the black dude bends over to try to help him get resuscitated. I don't know how many times I've watched that part.
And in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, it's not even hard,
No, but we'll take it.
but we'll take it and it'll carry the movie.
Yes.
Okay? And
All
it's Jason Segel.
we needed one maybe, but I don't what I think it is. So like I made the mistake. I Googled on like YouTube bros movie review and
Mm,
every Candace Owens popped up, Ben Shapiro popped up, Matt Walsh, everybody who's like a far right whatever talker, all their videos popped up, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where are the facts? Like, where are the gay people at? Like, why are y'all not talking about this?
right.
And then, like, once I brainwashed myself and listened to them, I was like, wait, they kind of have a point. Like, why would I as a straight white male or straight male go to see this movie only because my wife dragged me to it? So even then, if I was dragged to it, there wasn't enough in it to pull that crowd. There wasn't enough in it to pull the gay crowd.
Bingo.
There's not enough to pull any crowd.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because the reality is not many people are gonna go see it. Like, my dad knows what this movie is, he's not gonna go see it.
No,
But if he were dragged to it, he should get something from it. That's the point.
but
And
he
you have to
won't.
do that with subtlety, not with
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna be the gay person late to a dinner with every race minority. We're
at the
gonna
table.
drop bisexual every 4.5 goddamn minutes.
And we're gonna talk about a thruple. We're gonna talk about
W-
adoption. We're gonna talk about,
Right.
but
Like,
that like
just
that
chill.
that scene had no relevance.
Which one? The dinner
The,
table
the
thing?
dinner table scene.
Yeah,
It was
it makes
just
no
to
sense.
interrupt thruple, and then later you talked about it again, and then at the end when he's singing the song, which was completely horrible, it
I
was
don't wanna
like
talk about that yet.
it,
I'm not ready to talk
you're not
about
ready
that
for the
yet.
song. But the problem
I'm
was like
healing.
they kept showing the audience, and I'm thinking maybe this is a good time to like show all your like celebrities. You fucking showed the thruple 4 times. Like you showed the thruple, then you show a random person, then you show the thruple.
Deborah
I'm
Messing.
like Deborah Messing's in the front row. Show that bitch. Show her. Show anybody. T.S. Madison. Give me Miss Lawrence a couple more times. Like give me something.
Did you watch Broad
Nothing.
City?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you know the episode with Bever's sister where she comes and it's that thunderstorm and somebody shits in her shoe?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that's one of my favorite episodes. And she's like obsessed with potato salad.
Mhm.
She was in the audience.
Didn't show her,
They did, which she's not like a huge celebrity,
but they
but like
showed her
that's just
once.
really funny to me that she
It's
was
like,
in there.
why is she here? But it was
It
just
showed her
random.
twice.
Really. But that's my issue. My issue was like, was there not enough gay people available to make it good?
And Simone keeps popping into things.
Right, which is fine, but she doesn't say much. She doesn't add anything. She's not giving me Simone. She's giving me whatever her boy name is.
Right.
I don't
Like when
want
she was in
I
Casey
don't want him.
Musgrave's video.
I don't want Reggie or whatever her name is. I would like
Sh-
Simone.
She didn't look good.
You said it.
I'm just saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah, but I don't know. But why was he so upset? So I wrote a bunch of different notes. My first note
Hmm.
is, do we have to just accept gay movies and support them regardless? And my example would be how I'm gonna say it. Black people went to see Black Panther in droves. That movie sucked. I would never fucking watch that movie again.
Oh, really?
No. If I watch it again, it's just to see Michael B. Jordan without a shirt. That is
Yeah,
it.
he's a good one.
But that was enough in it to make me watch it again. There was good action, this, that, and the other. It's a movie I can put on in the background. I'm not putting bros on in the background. I've,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I think my answer to that question is no,
no.
because that feels self-discriminatory. Like, if
Yeah.
we're gonna say like, oh, well, it's like typecasting, which I do think is problematic to a point, but
Hmm.
there's no gay people playing the role. And I'm like, well, do you want to be cast because you're gay? No, because you
No.
want to be cast because you're a good actor. And I get it.
Right.
It's a multifaceted
Yeah.
issue. But no, I'm not going to support it. Like, but I'm also garbage. So like GBF, those shitty gay movies, I love that shit.
Yes. I,
But it's because it's
I'm
not
not
trying
a
to be
cheerleader,
political.
you know.
Yeah.
What was the other ones? God, they had so many of them.
There
It was
is Eating Out,
Eating Out.
Eating
There
Out
you go.
2, Eating Out Drama
I
Camp.
watched every Eating Out that came out.
Oh yeah. Because that's what we're
Pubes? You
not
have
here
pubes
for
in your mouth?
plot.
You okay? Okay.
Yeah, we're not here for plot.
Yeah. No, we're here to look at it. But even if you have plot, why not give us a good plot? You know, the most, the outline for most, rom-coms is, what is it? Boy meets girl. There's a situation, and somehow they overcome that adversity and then live happily ever after.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, and I think that there was so like I'll give credit where it's due. I do think that they touched on a few like really important pieces.
Right.
I will say the is a trigger for me personally.
Yeah. The grinder.
I don't like the unprompted in there. But the bottom
Everybody
then
check their phone.
backspacing verse was funny for me.
Yeah, but you could have dwelled on that. Like, I felt like it hit it. It didn't like hit it, touched at it. It could have been funny. The whole scene with the guy, like, hey, we've all had that conversation. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. No, I'm done here.
Well, and
Th-
it
th-
just shows like that it takes away from the whole like, oh well, we're gonna make a movie not about sex, but then we're gonna talk about like how everybody has these hookups. I just think that that's like such an important. It sounds so gay to talk about, but it
but
is like an
it's the
important part
truth.
of like every gay person's experience.
But here's the thing: is it the same thing for straight people? Like, aren't they all meeting on apps? Aren't they all meeting at the bar? Aren't they hooking up? Like, I feel as though straight people are doing the same thing.
Yeah, but like Grindr is a cultural reset.
Yeah, but they didn't use
That's
Grinder.
like a
I thought
moment.
they used Tinder. Did they use Tinder or use Grinder?
No, that was in the movie.
Yeah.
No, that was Grinder.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was Grinder because it's the blue and the yeah. It's just
But I
weird.
mean, I it's just frustrating, and I think that, like, I appreciated his reference to his pigeon chest because I, too, have a pigeon chest
Mm-hmm.
with the opposite issue. Mine protrudes out,
Mm-hmm.
and I've hated that my entire life. And I think, like, the 2 main pieces of that movie that could have been a huge
Mm-hmm.
take home for gay people, like, if we get gay people here, great, we should learn something too because we're awful
Right.
to each other, was I mean,
Yeah.
truly,
Gay people are awful. There it
the
is.
piece about, internalized homophobia, but not just using it as a coin term, like the
Mm-hmm.
actual piece of it, like the calm
Yeah.
down or don't be yourself. I've been told that, and that's a hard.
Right.
That's
No,
not a like. I don't think
no
that,
one wants to get that told to them yet.
and realistically, like I don't think it needs to end positively because that's not real. Like I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
everything ends in bad, but like you say, oh well, you have internalized homophobia, and then I'm going to end this movie by going straight back with this guy that insulted me to my core.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's
Without fixing
fair.
it, without rectifying the situation, you just
Yeah,
decide that maybe he was the one for me because you're
and I
not
think
having good
that
hookups
like
after that.
I think it's like a harmful message too to
Mm-hmm.
show like argument, right? Because when you're hurt by something, like when he goes out of the bar and he sees them making out on the street, right?
Yeah.
And he's hurt, and I don't remember their names, which is awful.
Hmm.
Not Billy Eichner, the other one. When he's
Aaron.
like,
When Aaron.
"Why would you bring up my like?" That's so. Those are two different arguments, and I hate that. That's happened to me before. I hate when you bring up something that you're hurt by and the response is not to explain it and not to apologize or take
Just throw it
accountability,
out
but
there,
the
yeah.
response is to be, well, you did something too. They're two separate issues.
Right.
And I think like that just, I don't know. I think that that was a miss. And the piece I've been told, the most hurtful comment I've ever been told, and I talk about this all the time.
Uh-huh.
Somebody told me, you would or you were attractive until you started talking. So ever since then, I've been very self conscious about my voice,
Yeah.
like
I,
always,
you
even
know
for
what?
this.
I forget every time you talk. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just kidding. No, I
But
know.
like even for this forum,
And I
because
get it. I know
it's
it's your
hard,
voice. Yeah, I can
and
change
it's
your voice
like
if you like. No, no,
no,
no.
I'm not
I'll
still
make it
stuck in
deeper.
that piece.
But I get it. But you know what? They included things. I feel as though Billy included things that personally happened to him, because that whole
Yeah.
interaction at the Christmas tree thing or the Christmas thing, honestly, it wasn't that he was too gay. He was just unbearable, period. Like, it had nothing to do
Yes.
with being gay. You were
Yes.
unbearable. You're
Uh-huh.
word vomiting facts. You're giving me too much information. Like, dude, chill the fuck out. And I get it that maybe he's nervous and maybe that's why he was talking so much. But like, say that. Sorry, babe, I'm just nervous. Well, then just chill out. But don't say, can you like bring it down a notch? Can you like, you know,
Well, and it's like not even the gay thing, it's the whole like this is the first non-binary LGBTQIA.
it was too much. But
I'm just
that's
like, ah.
but that's him though. That's Billy Eichner, Billy on the street, and that's
Ugh.
the annoying part. Well, that's the first thing I thought of was like maybe it's just because Billy's not likable. And what proved it was the fact of like his whole stick for the movie was come see the first gay rom com put out in a movie theater by a major movie production company. Or then everyone who isn't a homophobic weirdo should come see Bros tonight. Like, dude, really?
Well,
That's the equivalent of Joe Biden saying you're not black if you don't vote for me. If you vote for Trump, you're not black. That's right there.
yeah, and he responded to the disappointment at the box office with like, I didn't make it for homophobes. And I'm like, who did you make it for though?
He made it for himself.
Yeah. Thank you,
Uh,
Ben.
Thanks, Ben. He made it for himself. That's the movie's made for him. And then I mean, I even wrote down that he tried to compare this movie being something like When Harry Met Sally, Moonstruck, Working Girl, Tootsie. Like he felt like this was going to be fucking iconic. Where?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a good writer too. Like he can write. Like Billy
He
on the Street is
can.
funny
Yeah, but it's funny if you like that sort of thing.
in that context.
Right.
This was Billy in the Street in real life,
15
which is not
minutes. 15-minute
right.
intervals.
Yeah.
I liked it better when it was on Conan. It was like 8 minutes. It was just like a little bit of Billy once or twice a week, and then we get to move on. When it came out with the 30-minute episodes, it was just too much.
I did appreciate the Popper representation.
The who? The
Popper
Poppers?
representation. Yeah, that
Mhm.
was nice. I felt
I
pretty
mean,
seen.
he had a lot of good things in there. What also was sad about was the normal fat gay guy who doesn't get any kind of play. He's just there as like the comedy relief, and he wasn't even funny. The one that was in the club, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know his name either, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
There was a lot of weird, like in the foursome scene, the guy that nobody's attracted to. I'm like, so then why did you
yeah.
invite, like, because that is a
It just
hurtful
he just wanted to be
experience.
he just wanted to be. I think it happened to him, and he just wanted to be included.
But like,
It's like
even
okay,
if it happened to you, that doesn't mean that you don't have shitty behavior.
but it was too short. Like it was a really like we could have done
Yeah.
without that part. Like really, like
Yeah.
it's like I think I'm gonna go. Oh, you're gonna leave? Okay, see you later.
Well,
We've
and
all
like the whole, and this is probably because of my line of work, but the whole like, I'm going to cope through excessive drinking is
not a
like,
good thing.
like, let's talk about
No.
antidepressants.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the things that we all have.
Talk about Lexapro. Let's go for it. Yeah, they can throw Lexapro ad
Right.
in the middle. I'm good with that.
Like, I feel
It-
like that was weird. Um,
but see, that's a typical gay thing that I hate. The always partying, always drinking, doing drugs, this kind of stuff. Those are the stigmas that I hate. I mean, they exist, yes, but like, let's rely on something
right.
else
Like, I'm gonna jump to steroids.
to be.
Uh,
I would, yeah, and that was the other thing. He tried to fix himself for this guy, and still went with the guy. Like he fixed himself for the guy to be with the guy.
at least there was no meth.
Well, I mean, and then yeah. What about the scene on the beach? That was kind of awkward.
Which one?
where they seem like they're trying to build a relationship together, and he tried to make him dance, and then when he danced, it was horrible. But I'm like, wait, I just saw you dance at the club, and you actually could dance, but now you're here and you can't dance.
My thing is like the other lead was it Aaron? Was that his name?
Yeah, Aaron, Luke
He was
Victoria.
in
Yeah,
that gay Christmas movie that nobody liked but me.
really? What movie
Did
was
you
he in?
see it?
I'm gonna look up. Hold on, me. I have the IMDb pulled up to the side so I can see, but I don't know.
With Brandon Urie or Brendan Urie, whoever it is.
Mm, I don't see
And
what.
Jennifer Coolidge was in it. That's his forum.
Bo Christmas.
Bo? No.
Wait, it's not. Maybe it's not Bo. Hold on. Christmas in my heart. Single all the way.
Wait, Single All the Way, that one. Because
Okay.
that's like one of those campy, it's a gay movie, but
Yeah.
it's not about being gay. Like that's the thing. It's so counterintuitive to be like, look,
Yes.
watch the first movie with gay people. It's not about being gay. I'm like, that's the whole point. If you
Right.
market it that way, what
You
do
know
you
what?
like?
It's the equivalent of like I love when they have a black or trans character in a movie, and at no point do they talk about the fact that they are
Right,
black or trans. Like,
right.
in
They're not
Luke,
on a
like
committee about
MJ
diversity.
exists, and she just exists as a woman playing a cisgendered woman. She can play trans, just don't talk about it all the time. You know?
Well, and like the fact that his I had to ask Ben in the middle, like, are we just accepting that he has a completely different like nationality brother, but his parents are like hyper conservative? It's cool. I can, but
Yeah,
like it's not that type of movie. It's not like
yeah. Because it
Hamilton
was
where
that
we
Jay Rodriguez, right? Was his
yeah.
brother playing straight, the gay guy playing straight. Yeah, that was you
And
couldn't
then
have
at the end of the whole movie, right, we're working on getting approval from the straight brother. I'm like, this is so counterproductive. It's so like not even counterproductive because I don't think movies are supposed to be productive, but
yeah,
I don't
I
think
mean,
it set us
may,
back. I'm just
may,
like, what a miss.
it did make us go forward. Maybe we need to throw
Yeah.
some more bricks at Stonewall. Maybe we need to get like the 12th and 13th brick to drill, just get it going. I don't know. It just I don't know. My thing was like, how can we, as a gay community, move forward and make a actual good gay movie? Because that's something I've been talking about since day one of having a podcast. Is gay movies are bad. I get it. But like, how can we make a good gay movie? Like, what is missing? Like, something's disconnecting when they make it, and it's like this
Be-
one.
because I think you're like naming the problem, right? A gay movie. A gay movie is a porno.
True.
You make like, so Call Me by Your Name, right? I know that movie has whatever controversy.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Hmm.
I read the book. And everybody's like, he's underage. And I'm like, oh my God, the point is like way up here then that you've
Right.
missed. Um, I mean, and then turns out Army Hammer's like a rapist,
Really.
but you
Yeah.
know, win some, you lose some. But and everybody was
Of
mad, like
course.
it's two straight actors. Who cares? Because those two straight actors, and oh my God, if
I mean,
that's could
Timothy
be taken a
Chalamet
moment.
is kind of borderline. You
But
know.
also they put like emotions out there that every gay person has felt better than these two did. And those two are both gay.
Well, also here's the problem. I was talking to a friend about the movie, and I go, okay, let's do this. Let's take out Billy and Luke. Find me two actors of color that are gay
Hmm.
that could play this role. Because the thing is, if you go with white actors, you're going to start with like what? You'll get like Neil Patrick Harris. You'll get all the gay guys that's in every gay movie. You'll have so many to choose from. Let's go with an
Hmm.
actor of color. And it's like, he was like, Billy Porter? I go, no, fuck no. Like, why do I want
Oh.
Billy Porter for this role? But I'm like, what gay actor could you get that wouldn't be being themselves? Like, okay, let's say Titus Burgess. You get him to play the role. So now he's just got to be Titus the whole movie. So it's kind of like you're gonna put him in singing, you're gonna make him dramatic. Like, would people want to see that? And it's like there's so many people not to choose from, but like, would you go see an undiscovered person? You start getting OnlyFan gays and realize they can't act.
Well, I mean, I think that they could have, but the pull isn't there. Like that movie
Yeah,
got traction because Billy Eichner's name is on it. Like it wouldn't have even, and he's not even like a main staple in the household, right?
yeah.
But Call Me by Your Name, look at how popular that movie is, and there was nobody like Timothy Chalamet wasn't well known at that time.
He was known enough, but not like to the level he is now. Like that
Well,
kind of
and it was
propelled him.
Sundance.
True.
What is this cat's problem?
It wants you. It loves you so much. But no.
Is he, like, ruining the audio?
No. I just hear the cat in the background. You can talk over him. I don't care. It's a cat.
Yeah, I don't know. Call Me by Your Name is interesting because I think it's an example of the opposite in a positive way. Like, in
Mhm.
Call Me by Your Name, the gay thing was never the issue and was never addressed. It was never the point of, like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god, like, you don't wanna date me because you're gay," or the parents, it was never that.
Yeah.
There was, like, never even the confrontation about being gay.
It was just
Um,
the situation of
it
them
was just
2.
that way, and that's like,
Yeah.
I don't consider that a gay movie.
No, I don't I it only well, no, I wouldn't call it gay because when I looked up for gay movies, that didn't in my head, it didn't pop up as
What
a
did
gay
come up?
movie. When I searched for gay movies, it came up with things like Camp, Trick, um, the old gay movies. Some
Mm,
of the newer stuff, which would be like all the Netflix gay movies that came out recently. My Fake Boyfriend or something like that. That was on Amazon Prime. Um, and those type of
my
movies.
fake boyfriend.
Yeah, you
Tu
ever saw
Wong
that?
Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
Yeah, we'll
That's
never
a
have
good
another.
one.
We'll never have another one of those.
Yeah. But do
But
we need one?
no, but they're
Right.
remaking everything else. I just watched the remake of Hellraiser, and I was like, for this time, this was good. And then I watched like the Jeepers Creepers Reborn movie, and I was like, you should have stopped after 2. Like, you're going too far. You know,
There's, like, such a damper on creativity.
is it because the generation now doesn't know of things then and they won't watch them? Like take Hocus Pocus for instance. The generation that watched Hocus Pocus would be I watched it growing up and I
Mhm.
watched it a lot as an adult too, but like my kids haven't seen it maybe once. So when the new
Yeah.
one came out, they were going to watch it, but I'm like, you could watch it, but like, do you have the same feelings I have when I see stuff? And then I realized, no, they'll see new stuff, I'll see old stuff, and we can both watch it together, and it works. But it
Right.
was like 20 something years later. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and
that's a
there's a
reboot that
different,
makes sense.
like
It's a whole new
yeah,
story,
and it's not a remake.
right? Where
Like,
they
we
take
need
the
to
same movie
stop
and do it all over
making
again. Yeah,
and not everything needs to come back. Sex in the City, leave it alone. Like, it's, like, culture vulture to me. Like, "Oh, we saw
yeah.
this thing that was really successful with, like, this population. Let's bring it back because we can't think of anything else that they would like." And
But
I'm
they
not
can
saying, like,
think of
Sex in
new
the
stuff. They
City
just don't want to do it.
yeah, it's just it's lazy to me, and I think that's, like, so annoying to say as I'm not somebody that does that, and I know it's, like, hard work, but it feels like the low-hanging fruit to
Fruit.
me.
But okay, so you could creatively make new things, but even some of the stuff that's been produced and brought out, you still think, man, this is what you decided on. Like you saw this script and said, this is the one I want. Like we're gonna make
Yeah.
this movie.
Well, and I think
You know?
people go with whatever has a guaranteed audience. Like Sex in the City, right? You automatically have a
Right,
fan base, even if it's
right.
trash, and then you also have
But it's
a
more
fan
for
base
nostalgia.
right, and you'll also have a fan base that will defend it to its core, even if it's trash.
Correct.
It's smart, but it's lazy.
Yeah, because the new one isn't that great. I watched it, but there was a lot of like moments. Kind of like how when Will and Grace came back, I'm like, okay, we were cute for like the first episode. I'm like, all right. But you did like 3 seasons, and I'm like, you still never like got your mojo back. Like you still never got
Yeah.
your thing. And then when you go back and watch the original Will and Grace, you're like, man, a lot of this shit was kind of cringy. Like y'all were kind of transphobic and homophobic and like
Mhm.
you had a lot of issues. But this was groundbreaking.
Which is why I think that a lot of these shows try to come back because they wanna redo it, but it's
They want to
okay.
fix that. Yeah, it's
Like,
okay to
it's
have
not
yeah.
okay to be transphobic, but it's
It was
you have
okay
to look at the
then.
context, like, it's
Mm,
not they couldn't do exactly what we're saying this movie tried to do. You can't do
right.
everything at once, and I'm not saying, like, some of the jokes weren't, not
The joke,
great,
yeah. They
but
but
even, like, Bob's Burgers, if you look back in,
yeah.
like, the 1st season, they talk about, like, trannies and stuff like that,
Yeah,
like
my favorite is Marshmallow.
mhm, and, like, we don't learn
Yeah.
and, like, learning is not retroactive. right?
Yeah.
We learn and we move forward. We can't learn and then go back and like it's like you can't
Like
unlearn
you
how to
can't
read.
fix it. Yeah. It's already
So
happened.
stop. It's like Friends. Friends is not going to come back. It shouldn't come back. And there was a ton of shit in Friends that was offensive.
Yeah. But that was good for that time. We can watch it now. We can be okay with it and
Yeah.
realize that was then.
It's like this whole movement with what is it right now? Oh my God. First of all, as somebody from Milwaukee, we're sick of Jeffrey Dahmer too. Just so you know. Okay.
I just had 2 episodes about Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah.
I know. That's why I'm saying that. And then
Mhm.
like this quote in this movie, a warm body on a warm body. I'm like, oh God.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like with Jeffrey Dahmer now, like change the lyrics, Katy Perry. And I'm like, okay, but all of y'all have been singing it for 4 years. And also, it's
We've
not
al
new information.
Right, we knew this already.
Like
It's
everybody's like,
those new social justice warriors. They're all
which is
new.
weird. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
watched 10 episodes to write a Facebook post about how shitty it is that it was made.
Oh, my favorite are the
Stop.
what about the girls who are turned on by him now?
Well, and that's gonna happen, right? So you have
Every
all these
time.
people like, it's re-traumatizing his family, and I'm like, you know what? They probably don't want you to be their voice either, because you're taking it away from them. Of course, they're gonna
Yeah.
be re-traumatized, but also, this isn't like a movie that glorified Jeffrey Dahmer. You can't
No.
like ignore it's like the Holocaust. People fucking loved the Holocaust. I'll say it.
They
It's not that
they
I
some of 'em
love that
do.
it happened, but it's
Some of
fucking
them do.
interesting because human
Yeah.
nature, this is what I studied all through college.
Yeah.
Human behavior is fucking fascinating because it's so bizarre.
Correct.
But you can't, and I don't think this was a movie that was like sympathetic to him,
No.
which is good, or a series. But like, I think
No, because it showed
there's
a
a
different
fine
side
line,
of it. It showed a different side of it to kinda, I think, make him more of an animal, you know?
right? And it's like it's more objective, and
Mhm.
that's what people don't like because it's so uncomfortable. Like that series was, I didn't even finish it, but it was so uncomfortable.
You
And
should.
living in Milwaukee,
It's yeah.
I've seen like nonstop posts about from people that live in Milwaukee, like
Mhm.
this is disgusting, and I'm like, you guys, it's not. Did you just find out?
Well, out of sight, out of mind.
Right, right. And like
Yeah.
somebody called, so there's a gay bar here, and somebody had called the gay bar and asked for
The
Jeffrey
gay bar.
Dahmer,
Oh, wow.
and I'm just like, a
Mm.
stupid, b are you that upset? Like it's not. And they were like, this is so disrespectful to the family, and I'm like, well, they wouldn't have known if you didn't post it.
You're like, "No, girl, he ain't here, he dead. Bye."
It's just so interesting to me, and
Yeah.
everybody like Evan Hansen, Evan
Evan
Peters,
Peters.
he's
Yeah.
gonna need therapy, and I'm like, well, I would
Most
hope so,
but
but
most
also,
actors, they're method actors. They get into the character, they do their thing, and then they bounce out.
yeah, he murdered people for that role.
Yeah,
He went
probably.
on a slaying spree. Everybody fucking needs therapy.
I need
Okay,
therapy because I wanna keep reading about it. Yeah.
I'm a therapist, and I need fucking therapy.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother set of issue.
A lot of it.
But see,
I
you know
just am
what?
like,
But you know what? Maybe it's not for everybody. Kinda like, take this movie, for instance. Take, Bros. W w I Do you think it made the gay lifestyle look any better? Did it give me any groundbreaking gay news that I didn't hear before? Like, if I'm gonna see a movie, I want some new shit, I went to go see
yeah.
Selma, and I was like, Selma's a movie about
Mhm.
Dr. Martin Luther King. I left there knowing less. I'm like, okay, I should have gone here and I should have known more stuff, saw something new. Why did y'all make another movie that already exists? Like, this exists. This information's out there. You gave me nothing new.
It's like, there's an episode, you know the show Extras with Ricky Gervais from a while ago?
No. I
It's like
think
an older show, and it was
uh-huh.
very, like, not appropriate.
Well,
It's
Ricky
hilarious.
Gervais is very not appropriate. Yeah.
And there's an episode with Kate Winslet in there, and the whole premise of the show is, like, he's an extra or something, they're extras, and then they meet all these celebrities, but the celebrities play themselves, but a character of themselves.
Uh-huh.
So, like, Kate Winslet was in it as Kate Winslet, but not her
Not Kate
real
Winslet. Yeah.
personality. And she's, like, dressed like a nun, and he was like, "Why are you taking this role?" And she goes, "The only way to get an Oscar is to play somebody that's disabled or that was in the Holocaust." And
Oh.
it's a joke, and it's funny
Right.
because it's true. And
But
guess
it's
what?
yeah.
10 years later, she won an Oscar for being in The Reader, which is famously about the Holocaust. Eh,
I mean, how can a black woman win a best person, the best actress Oscar? They pretty much have to get what banged out by Tommy Lee Jones. And what happened with Viola Davis? Was it? It was it The Help? Was it? It was. Was it the help
Doubt.
she got it for?
I think it was Doubt
Just
with Philip
something
Seymour Hoffman.
which was probably not appropriate. They don't get it for
That was
being
a
normal.
weird fucking.
That's
Actually,
what
I'm
I'm
gonna look it
saying.
up. That was a weird movie.
Yeah, they don't get it for nothing normal. That the whole thing in Hollywood where they say, oh, in order for a man to succeed, he has to at least do drag or this, that, and the other. He has to play gay once or twice, and I'm like, really?
She got Best Actress in a Leading Role in 2021. Eh?
Okay.
What did she? What was she in 2021?
Let's see. Fences. She got it for Fences.
Which was a bad movie.
It was not. It should not have been. It was
No,
the.
you're right. It should not have been a movie. It's a
No,
play.
it should have stayed as a play. Now I
That's
will
the thing
say she
too.
acted the fuck out of it, but like you you
Oh,
wo- you
yeah.
won an award for being a 1950, 40, whatever, 60s housewife who got cheated on by Denzel Washington and looked
Well,
like a fool.
and I think that they were both in the stage version. I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
Denzel Washington is also unmatched. Like they both did so well, and it's a great plot,
Mhm.
but it's not for a movie. Like the plot is so minimal because it's a stage production.
Yeah.
So it's a production for minimal transitions, not like
Yeah.
85
And
million.
there were long, long monologues. Dear God.
Yeah. And I'll give it to her. I run groups and I show
Mhm.
that scene where she's got
Snot and everything.
yeah, where she's like, I was standing with you, and there's
Yeah.
like snot. She looked like she just
Yes.
sucked a dick.
Yeah.
Because that's emotion.
It
But
was.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Fences, but I do like that monologue, and I show that
Yes.
monologue to my
But see,
groups
I
a
don't
lot of
but
the time.
again, I don't see this winning any awards. This Bros winning any awards. Also, the movie was called Bros, and at no point was the guy a bro? Was Luke McFarlane a bro?
I don't know.
He was just
I don't
dumb to
fucking know.
me. He was just dumb to me. I still again,
Yeah,
no.
I do like the quote when they said vulnerability is not a boner killer. That's why it's dangerous. I wish vulnerability was a boner killer. Think about it.
When somebody gets vulnerable, does it not turn you on more?
Okay, Jeff.
I'm just showing you my true self, and it's
Like,
like,
isn't that the
oh, that's
whole
kind of
thing?
hot.
Like, I wish that vulnerable people were boner killers sometimes because I think they'd be safer.
Because maybe that they find that attractive. Like, oh my god, you're being so vulnerable to me. I'm thinking of the good vulnerable, not the
Like Stockholm syndrome.
not the I took you into my house and you can't get away kind of vulnerable. What kind of vulnerable? Yeah, I was thinking from the heart.
I mean, but isn't that like on the verge of taking advantage of
like when
people?
you're consoling somebody and then you kind of rub their back and you're like, oh, Dick, chill out. This is not the moment to. No, okay, just checking.
Vulnerability is not a boner killer, but it like should be. Like when people are being vulnerable, I don't think they want to get dick down. But I mean, maybe they do.
But it's happened in some movies where they console each other and then all of a sudden they just start banging.
Yeah. So like again, probably from my line of work, not an appropriate way to handle your emotions. But
Remember that. Yeah, I'm glad you're on here. That's good.
it's just like I don't know. It's a token phrase. Vulnerability is not a boner killer. But like think about what you're saying a little bit more.
Hmm.
Because there's people like me that are psychotic. And do you know how much it hurts my soul that I resonate more with Billy Eichner's character than the others? It's
Really?
not a proud thing. I
Okay.
am the
Yes.
king of
Okay. You are.
oversharing,
Yeah.
but I can read the room.
And see, that's something he couldn't do. He could not read the room.
Yeah. But like, if I'm being vulnerable to you, it's like when you're arguing and then they just start making out. Fuck off. If somebody did that to me, do you know how pissed off I would be?
Yeah, because it's like I'm not done arguing.
It's so devaluing.
Like
It's so like,
like arguing
you're
doesn't
so,
turn me on. I'm
right. You're
pissed.
so hot when you're mad. Ew.
But I think that's like I feel like that's a joke. I don't think that's real. I think that's a joke. No?
Like
Like
in
no,
real life?
yeah, in real life, like nobody argues and then start making out. Like I don't get argue and start like turning into passion. Like I've never had that happen.
No, me either, because I don't date stupid people, but I
Or
think that
fight.
that's a real thing that does happen.
I don't have a fight and they're like, well, no, I did make out with a guy one time because he tried to lick me and I pulled his ponytail. And then like he moaned and then I think the ponytail pulling and the aggression in that moment kind of, I don't know, maybe it was. Okay, so maybe it does work. A little fighting.
Some random guy tried to lick you and you pulled his ponytail?
No, it's a guy I knew. I knew him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We were drinking, you know.
Sure. I mean, that's different though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if
But yeah.
somebody's being vulnerable to you, put your boner away unless they have
Yeah.
one too. But even then, make sure that they fucking want it also. Because sometimes people that are grieving
So what you're saying
may
is
think that they want that
if they're vulnerable, check them for a boner first.
and then ask permission. But even then, maybe not, right? Like when I am hyper emotional,
Right?
I am the equivalent of somebody that is intoxicated in terms of my ability to give consent. And I'm not
Right.
saying like that I've been perpetually assaulted at all, at
Right.
all.
Mhm.
But when I'm very emotional, my logical thoughts are absent and my
Mhm.
thought patterns don't align with how they would should I not be this emotional.
Right.
And I feel everything at a 10 all of the time. So in those moments, if I
Mhm.
feel disconnected from somebody, if I feel like I am not enough for this person or I need to tone it down for this person,
Mhm.
and they take that as an opportunity to pursue me sexually,
Right.
that'll feel great in the moment because it validates all of those feelings or
But
invalidates all of those feelings, which is
right.
what you look for. But then the next day, I would just
Yeah.
sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm correct," and they didn't know how to like confront that because you shouldn't have to have that to feel validated in your person. Which is why
You
the
see?
piece about him not being
Yeah.
like chill out and stuff like that. You would anybody that behaves that way when meeting somebody's parents is asinine. Okay,
Yeah.
but you should never have to adapt who you are. You can. What is the quote? You'll never be too much for somebody that can't get enough of you, and that's something I like took forever to learn and had to embrace myself because
Yeah.
I annoy myself and I'm a lot.
That's bad when you annoy yourself. Like that's
It's maddening and like I'm a lot to be around. I'm an
Mhm.
acquired taste on a good day,
Yeah.
but imagine being me. It's worse.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like other girls, but worse. Like
So that's how you can relate to Billy. Because
yeah.
in that sense, he was all over the place.
Well, but the difference is like I would never tell somebody that.
But you would also ask somebody why. Like when he asked that guy why you don't want to go out, or he said why you don't want to go out with me, or why don't you want to come home with me? Like when he decided to go with the other people instead of him, I feel
Mhm.
like you would ask that question, like why? Well, why is that? Instead of just like letting it go and being upset, he would have walked away, but he's like, no, fuck this, no, why? Let me know why. I want to
Right.
know why.
Oh, I
Which I
Socratic
get it.
method the shit out of people. I love doing that. Like, do you understand why that was a bad choice? Or like, do you understand why my feelings are? I'm like a big communicator, and that's like a huge thing for me because my biggest fear, not fear, but like
Uh huh.
what's hardest for me is when I'm not. It's not even when I'm not understood, but when I'm not able to express myself in a way that is congruent with how I'm feeling. Because so
Hmm.
many of my emotions that I feel, and I have some like mental health stuff, but like so
Hmm.
many of it can't be communicated, especially to people that haven't felt it. And
Right.
I think the phrase like, "Oh, well, walk in somebody's shoes" is harmful because I think that you'll never
Yeah.
have somebody's
You'll
experience,
never
and
know. Yeah.
right, and having that thought pattern and that approach is not beneficial.
To know about
You should
anybody.
have to have somebody's experience in order to be empathetic.
Right.
But when I can't communicate or I can't articulate, it's it's scary for me, and there was a time that I was, like, breaking down really bad, and I called Ben on the phone, which is how you know,
Hmm.
because I hate talking on the phone,
Right.
and in the middle of my sentences, I was losing track of where I was, and I was, like, losing
Yeah.
language.
So he knew you were kind of like spiraling.
Yeah, and it was such an awful feeling because I felt, like, s very trapped, and it
Hmm.
wasn't even like I didn't have the language to describe how I was feeling, I didn't know how I was feeling, like, we confuse emotions so many times, like all of the time, and we
Yeah.
respond accordingly. So
Yeah.
instead of scared, I think I'm mad and I respond out of anger when that's not what I was actually feeling.
Right. You weren't.
It's something
Yeah.
different. And Brene Brown has an excellent series about this whole concept called Atlas of the Heart on HBO. And
Hmm.
there's a part where she shows this painting, and it's to describe anguish because that's like one of those emotions. Like, how do you explain what that is, and how do you explain the difference between like anguish and
Hmm.
misery or anguish and suffering. And it's of this like ew, EWE, fucking
Right.
lamb,
I like
um,
those things. Yeah.
like howling, and then there's a dead one beside her, like a younger one that
Mhm.
presumably her offspring, surrounded by crows about to eat it, and she's just howling, and it's like a I think some emotions cannot be expressed,
Right.
and I think the danger is assuming that they can or going into a situation with the assumption that you can. Because in reality, and this is a
Yeah.
tangential
Yeah.
marathon of a point, but
We're
it's
there.
not somebody's job or it's not somebody's responsibility
Mhm.
to interpret the way that you feel correctly. It's your responsibility to communicate it effectively. And that's a hard bullet to bite
So what you're
because when
saying.
you
Mhm.
can't,
So you say all that to say now you understand why Jeffrey Dahmer killed people. I got it. Like I felt all that. No,
exactly,
no,
to a
but I get.
T.
Yeah, no.
You know what though? I am so fucked up that I'm like, I wonder if I was his type.